I watched Earnhardt last night, the biography, the documentary about the man, and it's a wonderful thing. And it dug up lots of very strong feelings that I hadn't anticipated. I hadn't anyway. Uh, the most overwhelming for me was to hear the accent and the story told in that voice. For 20 years, I heard it. I used to live in Atlanta, and I knew it. I know since and before that it is a sound that is mocked and dismissed. It is the sound of a certain voting constituency, we imagine. Um, the documentary is full of him and Daryl Waltrip. Waltrip is a very loquacious, outgoing person. Dale, less so, extraordinary fellows. The voices are like an echo to me 20 years. And I wonder, he was 50 when he died, Dale. And for 20 years when I was in Atlanta, I played in the theater. So I played for people probably not like him, but I played for people that had that, spoke with that sound. Week in, week out, I worked for them. I was as strange as you could get to them as a white man. It was like being in Newcastle in England or Glasgow, not Edinburgh. Those voices, well, I miss them. And they call me. I asked the roomie who was watching the film with me what she thought about these people, and she said nice things, but I wondered whether she said so because she knows me. I think these voices trigger some people. The documentary focused on his relationship with his children. It seemed to be the main theme. The junior was open and unmanned almost entirely by something. I have seen this trouble up close. I watched closely and wondered why I didn't hero worship my father and suffer the collateral. Is it the father's doing or not doing, or is it something else? The culture looks patriarchal, but I have been in it and it isn't. The camera in the show is very candid, and we can read the faces if we are good at that. And there was a remarkably little deception, very little arch. They may do this off camera, but then the face freezes. It was incredibly genuine. Men and women, when they spoke about themselves and each other, it was a shockingly honest, brutally honest. It was very attractive and rare. I remember this openness from when I was there. My parents had the same honesty, perhaps brutality, but this world was not a world of beaten boys and girls. That was not a thing here. This world of machines and men and women and ambitions. It's so fascinating, I think, I thought about this, to tune a machine and then drive it at its top end and break it and yourself over and over again. Something is happening here, something deep. I don't think it's courage. It's more like adventure, fear included, a massive self-endorsed and imposed challenge, and that winning is partly competitive and partly self-realization. At one point, a great friend of Dale's dies, Neil Bonnet, in a crash. And there's much, by the documentaries, there's much sensitive stuff about their friendship, candid and open, but the camera and the filmmaker insist he didn't go to the funeral. He didn't find closure, didn't grieve. And I wondered. He won a race and said, Neil was with me in this car and he's been with me for a year. And who is it that says he did not honor his friend thus? Dale reads a brief eulogy on a radio show. I couldn't tell. And he struggled. He said, I'm just reading it. It's an amazing moment. He tried several times and at last just read it, and it sounded stilted but perfect that way. There was much about neglect. It looked like Dale was neglected by his father, but that father was only in stills. It was never a film. So there was a stern macho still, and then the description of his coldness from his. But we weren't watching them together. So we are led to think, like father, like son. But I saw what I saw in my life. The father does not make the man of the son. Doesn't work. Hollywood, ever. That work is done elsewhere. The son's realization of self cannot come from father nor mother. It is not their job. O fools, O judges, it is the world's work. We are suffering a lack of the realized human for sure today, and are looking in all the wrong places. In my opinion, after my life and study of these things, the realization is relationship free. It is solitary. It struggles out from darknesses, often forbidden, often harsh, intuitively found, crossing over a wall and wandering far. And I kept remembering the speech from Fences, like you? I don't have to like you. Father to his son. These are important things that usually only poets hint at, too harsh for the rest. Then there are the great scenes of NASCAR. Incredible. I never went. Or did I? No, I never went, and I should have gone. Maybe I will. It's passions, it's tragedies. It's a very strong culture. And it need be nothing else. A whole culture. It's hard to think of its like. Almost more participatory than the rock concert. More communal. More tribal, identifying. There are costumes and music attached and food and booze, but the booze is not melancholy. It's a celebration and ancient. I was among it once and I do miss it. I miss the women, I do. I drove a car in Atlanta for a year, bought and paid for, but without a title. And my mechanic and I tried to obtain one for a year. At last he said, go see Lucy. Lucy was a chain-smoking, rail-thin, gorgeous woman of 50 in a used car lot on DeKalb Avenue. She took my details and my VINs and sent me off to the police station, who refused to help. God dang it. She laughed and went herself into the building and out in 5 minutes with my title, and then she was gone in a cloud of smoke, because she was rare and wonderful, but typical. That happened. There is something so holy and conservative, churlish no doubt, distrustful and angry at dog whistles like wokeness, exploitable to the nth degree and neglected. Its pleasures are too basic, its clothing's too cliched, its trailer parks too many, for many but not for me. And it seems to provide for its flock like little else we know, full of humanity, and we should know this, and that this may be what they fear is threatened by the elites. It is threatened by the elites, the disdainful. Still it is strong, mighty strong, and no better world can dismiss it. Like I say, I played Shakespeare for the cousins of Dale, worlds away from each other, but you could look over the gulf and wave. You could tip a hat if you wore one.